There's a solution, right? We talked about the solution, but we also talked about this is really about maturity, right? We have to take beings that are on an immature level and put them at a level of maturity so that they actually realize their power, and then they're able to sustain themselves and remove themselves from debt, right? So I had to lay out very briefly what kind of children you have, though, because children doesn't seem to be subject to age these days. You got the old and inexperienced running around, okay? They probably have no children, so they have never really had to go through that process of just seeing some of the mechanics that parents have to see when you're raising children, like it's not all about you anymore. Right? Now you have somebody else to protect. You can't stay out all night now. You can't say, I don't care anymore, because now somebody else is really depending on you figuring it out. So there's one. We have, generally they haven't traveled. This was a phenomenon that I dealt with a lot when I was in the US, is that I had all the bread, but I'd go to the Bahamas or something like that, but I was never going to like Turkey, Morocco, or any place like that. There was always an excuse not to. So there's no experience from the travel. Again, this is pointing out the old and inexperienced. And generally, there's no sexual awareness, as we talked about Tantra in our last GLM. And we talked about just how advanced Tantra can be. So awareness of that kind of stuff was just not even present. And that would create an old and experienced person, which would make them very immature and like a child. Right? And then, of course, we have the young and the rebellious. Right? And in this case, their parents generally are steeped in debt. This generally is the reason why they're not even able to spend time with the child. The job is just calling them. And the debt is coming from a lot of the things that they're signing. The car note, the house note, the new stereo system. So all these things that they're signing, they're accruing all this debt, but they're going to go and work that off. And so they got to go to the job. So this means that time's not invested in the child. Hey, this is a system that I'm coming from. This is a system that I'm living in. This is a system that I am hoping to put into balance. But I got to cite the system. This is the young and rebellious. So the parents are in the debt. So the kids already feeling the debt of the parents. On top of that, they generally have no education. They buck the system. They listen to Prince EA. Don't go to school. You see what I mean? And we know the indoctrination, Wolfenschaunkrieg, all the different indoctrinations within the school system, and the boringness of the school versus the strip club, parties, block parties, raves, all the other stuff that's saying, hey, do this and not school. You can't party all night and then try to make it in school and ace it. It's not going to happen. So generally no education. And then finally, bad mentors. We talked about this before with, just this industry, and this industry got everybody thinking that this is what it's like. Now Cardi B is these girls' mentor. So you can't imagine that tree is going to bud any fruit than what you see. Unless somebody gets in there and intervenes, does the proper pruning, and then actually allows it to grow from this level of shit or fertilization that it has now ingested. That's the beauty of all this. This is why we know that there is still some solutions that can be deployed, because when you look at all of the negative aspects of what I just talked about, of the distorted aspects, you can still see that is actually fuel. We use the feces on this planet generally for fuel or to grow things. The nitrogen, the methanes, we can use those to combust and to create fuels in order to grow things and fertilize things. So just because we've seen all of this go on, and it seems like a lost cause, this could also be because we're looking at where is here. What about the diet? They got to fix their diet. Oh my goodness, they're going to have to also fix their legal standing. Oh my goodness, they're also going to have to fix their money. Oh my goodness, they're also going to have to fix and it's just like, whoa. Start at the first part though, because I can guarantee you if you deal with the first part, it's going to trickle down into all of those. It's like you're downstream trying to work with some of the things that are going on downstream, and it just seems like it's continuously coming. It won't stop. And we got to go upstream and say, well, where's the mouth of the river? The mouth of the river is the children, because there actually are current. There are fruit. And if we don't secure our fruit and get them into the proper stage to where they understand how to, as we talked about before, clean the maintenance and clean the chain and not gain more debt on the chain, then we start seeing rapidly a new present, a new future. And this is how, again, just a lesson in critical thinking today about how to begin to think and use the consciousness, if you may, for discovering solutions and then how to get to the root of those solutions.